YouTube Nation, what is up? Eagles Truth here with you again. Coming back at you with another video. I haven't posted all season, and I'm gonna upload 2 videos in one day. So that's kind of like, what? Yeah, I just finally found some time. So thought I'd actually get my my opinions out there. I have so much respect for guys like Philly 500 and Thomas Mott and Joey Shakes and Philly Mike, and I'm gonna leave out people I know, I'm sorry, but I have so much respect for the people that get on daily with these videos. Sometimes they come out with green screens and this and that, and they so much and cover the Eagles daily. I always wanted to be a part of that community, just never had the time. But I like to get on here when I can. I used to love getting on here after Eagle losses, just to vent, just to fucking vent. So we have ourselves a quarterback. Last video I did, other than today, was before the season, and it was basically saying how everybody on our team, everywhere you look, Pro Bowl caliber players everywhere, and the only question mark just so happened to be at the most important position, the quarterback. Well, oh lordy, that's been answered. I can't imagine how he would not get an extension. There's 5 games left of the season plus playoffs. He would have to play so effing poorly, the rest of these 5 games. I mean, he has not had a bad game yet. He's not had a bad game yet. We've seen other quarterbacks have bad games. Mahomes, Josh Allen, even in the loss, you can't blame him for the loss. You can't. I mean, he threw 1 interception, but my God, it was right in Alshon Jeffrey. I say that because Alshon Jeffrey and A.J. Brown, even though A.J. Brown is much better, they're both considered physical, like contested catching receivers. So that's why I made the mistake. But it was right in A.J. Brown's hands. Right in his hands. And it was just the DB kind of took it. It's no different than the ball that he threw this past week with A.J. Brown. It was like it was like contested as all hell. So it's really hard to put that on him. And when you think about it, too, he's thrown 3 interceptions all year. 3. 2 of them, not his fault. I know other QBs have had interceptions that were not their fault, but 2 have not been his fault. There was one, I believe, who was it? Was it the Vikings? I can't remember where it was. But he threw it was like a screen or something, and he threw it to the running back, and it was right here, and it went off his hands and then intercepted. That's not his fault. And then the A.J. Brown one was like right here. It was right here. Not his fault. The only interception all year that's been his fault was the one against the Jaguars in that rainstorm. That's it. It's insane. But getting back to our one loss, you couldn't really, go back and watch it. You couldn't really put it on Jalen. The defense, fumbles galore, the bad officiating. He's not been a problem all year. He's been the most steady performer. I mean, even Michael Vick, McNabb, that one, even in 2017 when Carson Wentz, like even he had a bad game or 2. Jalen Hurts, all last year, I did not like him. I did not like Sirianni. I did not like Jonathan Gannon. I did not like Jalen Hurts. I remember watching the games and just being like, we have a running back, a quarterback. But this guy's not going to cut it. Like, let's be real. I don't give a damn about his work ethic. I don't give a damn about his leadership. I didn't give a damn about his personality. Screw you. I want him out of here. That was me watching the games all last year. Well, offer me the biggest plate of crow you can possibly offer someone, because he's quickly becoming my favorite player. Not in history. That will always remain Brian Dawkins. But he is quickly becoming my favorite player. his jump from year 1 to year 2, or really it was year 2 to year 3, but he hardly played in year 1. It was like 4 games. I'm not going to count that. His jump from year 1 to year 2 is astronomical. Astronomical. Now we've had NFL MVP type discussions before. I remember 2010, Michael Vick played amazingly, and I thought he could be the ultimate weapon. He already could fling the ball like a million yards just with a flick of his wrist. He was more accurate than I ever thought he was when I watched him in Atlanta, and there was nobody more elusive and quicker. And all you needed, like if you could put Peyton Manning's brain inside of Michael Vick, you'd have the ultimate weapon. Like, what are you gonna do? And then for whatever reason, now he did not deserve to be MVP that year. He kind of fizzled out down the stretch, but he had a really terrible Tuesday, I think it was, night game against the Vikings where it just was bad. So he fizzled out down the stretch. But there was MVP talks in that year. There was MVP talks with Carson Wentz. Those ones I believe were valid, very, very valid. Because he missed 3 games. 3 games and a quarter, really. Excuse me. But even though he missed those 3 games, he still had more touchdown passes than Tom Brady, the guy that won it, while missing 3 games. So that should tell you. I think he finished second in touchdowns. Russell Wilson finished first with 1 more touchdown. Again, Wentz missed 3 games. So if he didn't miss those 3 games, outside of playing like jack shit, I think Wentz would have been the first Eagles MVP. I think he would have been the first. But both those quarterbacks, after that one amazing year, turned into jack shit. Is this going to be just one of those years for another quarterback? Is this going to be one of those years where they play amazing and then we just never recapture that magic? We never recapture that level of performance again? I don't think I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses here. I don't see Jalen, his personality, his work ethic, his leadership. I don't see that being the case for him. Do you? I mean, I'll even talk to Cowboys fans about this. Do you? Do you really think he's just going to go? I'm not. There has to be a ceiling. There has to be a ceiling, and I don't know if he's hit it already or if he hasn't. I have no idea, but there has to be a ceiling somewhere. But I just don't see him falling off a cliff. How? Like, no matter how the season ends up, whether we're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, or we're out in the first round because Jalen Hurts played horrible. It doesn't matter how it ends. I don't see him not working hard in the offseason like he did this past offseason to get even better. So it's hard for me to think that he's going to fall off a cliff. But, okay. Damn, 9 minutes in, I'm just now getting to the numbers. Sorry, guys. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts' numbers, what he's averaging. This is what, at the season end, like what he's averaging now, this is what is going to be at the end of the season. He's going to have 5,028 total yards. 5,028 total yards. 4,165 of those yards is passing yards. That'll probably be, I think that's their first ever 4,000 yarder passing wise. As an Eagle, right? I mean, which is kind of sad because it seems like now like 10 quarterbacks a year are getting over 4,000 passing yards. So I think it's the first Eagle, I think. Anyway, 863 of those 5,028 yards is going to be run. 863. There would be a plane passing overhead as I'm trying to talk. Any day now. Anyway, it's close. He could be the first quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 and rush for 1,000 in the same year. He's going to have to pick up on the running just a tad because he's averaging 863 yards at the end of the season. So we have to pick up that a little bit, but you don't want to pick it up too much where it sacrifices his passing because he's only got 4,165 average yards at the end of the season. So, but I'm just saying it's there. It's possible he could be. So yeah, 5,028 total yards, 41 total touchdowns, 28 through the air, 13 on the ground, 4 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, and 8.2 yards per attempt. Let me read all this real quick again. Jalen Hurts at the end of the year, would you accept this? 5,028 yards in total, 4,165 through the air, 863 on the ground. 41 total touchdowns, 28 through the air, 13 on the ground. Only 4 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, and 8.2 yards per attempt. That's what he's averaging right now. So basically what I did is I took his numbers, divided it by 12 because we played 12 games, and then times it by 17 for a 17-game season. That's what he's averaging. You look at it, you see 5,000. So he's over the 5,000 total yard threshold, which is pretty damn impressive. 41 total touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. That's insane. That's insane. That's MVP worthy. Let's go to Mahomes, okay? Because I think everybody believes it's between Hurts and Mahomes, right? Mahomes averaging 5,796 yards. That's 5,395 in the air, 401 on the ground. 46 total touchdowns, 43 through the air, 3 on the ground. 11 interceptions, 65.6% completion percentage, and 8.1 yards per attempt. So let's compare the two. Jalen Hurts averaging 5,028 yards. Mahomes averaging 5,796. So that's what 760, 70 yards. 760, whatever. I'm just doing real quick math in my head. 760 yards more is significant. It's significant. 5 more touchdowns, total touchdowns than Hurts, but 7 more interceptions. 4 interceptions versus 11. Jalen Hurts, 68% completion percentage. Mahomes, 65.6. That's significantly different. And then 8.2 yards per attempt, 8.1 yards per attempt. So you just look at those. You just look at those two. Mahomes has more yards. Mahomes has 760 more yards, 5 more total touchdowns. But he also has 6 more interceptions. His completion percentage is less, and his yards per attempt is just a tick less. Is that enough for Hurts to win the MVP? Well, I can see some people saying yes if they really put a focus on the turnovers and the completion percentage. I can see some people saying no because 760 more yards and 5 more touchdowns, they just can't ignore that. Okay, let me add something else. Jalen Hurts has 2 more wins. Does that mean anything? He has 2 more wins. Likely to finish with the number 1 seed, whereas the Chiefs right now are the number 2 seed. But let me add this, just food for thought. Okay, dog. Jalen Hurts will average 506 attempts. He's at 357 right now. He'll have 506 throws on the year. Mahomes is at 469 right now. He will average 664 throws. So, hear this out. This is where it gets like, ooh. Mahomes will have about 158 more throws on the year than Jalen Hurts. If you take Mahomes' average throws per game, which is 33, that's 4 more games for Mahomes. than what Jalen Hurts had. Think about that. You just take 158 because that's how many more throws he would average, and divide it by 33, which is the average number of throws that Mahomes has a game. He will have 4 more games. 4 more games than Jalen Hurts. 700 and about 760 yards difference. Can 4 games make? Can Jalen Hurts get 760 yards in 4 games? Sure he can. 5 more touchdowns. Can Jalen Hurts get 5 touchdowns in 4 games? Sure he can. I mean, Jalen Hurts is already averaging more yards per throw than, no, great, it's by 0.1. I get it, but still. You add in the leadership, the work ethic, the more games won, less turnovers, interceptions, not having a bad game yet. The whole thing about Jalen Hurts being the MVP right now, when you really factor in the substance, everything. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. Mahomes has 158 more throws. That's 4 more games for Mahomes. That's worth 4 more games in total. The truth of the matter is, Kansas City throws a lot. They throw a lot. That's why I kind of hope we see him in the Super Bowl. That's why I hope we see him in the Super Bowl. Because even though Mahomes is an amazing quarterback, we're number 1 in pass defense right now. I mean, the Chiefs don't even try to run. It's just pass, 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 pass. Andy Reid, go figure. But and we have a good secondary. So I mean, it's food for thought. It's food for thought. Yes, Mahomes has more yards and touchdowns. That's where he gets Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts leads in every other stat. People say yards and touchdowns means the most. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But he also throws a shit ton more. He also leads the most touchdown drives in the entire league. I don't know. We have more touchdowns than the Chiefs. It's not over yet. There's 5 games still to go. That's almost a third of the season, okay? But it's right now, I'd probably have to give it to Jalen Hurts. I know I'm an Eagles fan. I get it. I'd have to give it to Jalen Hurts right now. And barely, but, you know, thinking about how many attempts they give Mahomes and everything else, and just looking at just managing a game, I just think Jalen Hurts is the best. All right, we'll see how these other 5 games go. They'll definitely mean a lot in what goes on. So take care, guys. I'm out. You guys make your own decision. For me, unbiasedly, I know it's hard to believe because I'm wearing the Eagles logos, but right now, Jalen Hurts is your MVP. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, guys. I'm out. Peace.